You bought Bitcoin to escape the banks, to get out of Wall Street's grip, to own something they couldn't manipulate. But what if I told you they didn't fight Bitcoin? They learned how to move it, and they're not doing it by buying or selling coins. They're doing it through something most regular investors like you and me don't even know exists. It's called Bitcoin ETF options. And if you don't understand how this works, you could be riding price swings that have nothing to do with adoption, scarcity, or fundamentals. And you probably know exactly how it feels like to buy Bitcoin, and immediately the price drops the moment you click buy. I am a former Wall Street professional, and today I'm going to explain in plain English exactly how the banks have found a loophole to manipulate Bitcoin's price. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Bitcoin's volatility is changing and how to protect yourself from getting played. What changed and how the loop works? Let's rewind for a second. Bitcoin was created with one mission: a decentralized currency. No central authority, no banks, and no manipulation. For years, that mostly held up. Price moved based on global demand, with retail investors, tech believers, and institutions slowly stepping in. Then January 2024 happened. Spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved. Now, on the surface, this sounded bullish, and in many ways it was. You could buy Bitcoin in a normal brokerage account. No need for complex electronic wallets, no private keys, and no sketchy website. But guess what? Most people missed that within months. Regulators approved options trading on those Bitcoin ETFs. And this is where things get very interesting. Let's use a simple example. An option is just a contract. A call option gives someone the right to buy at a set price. A put option gives someone the right to sell at a set price. Now here's the key. When retail investors like us buy call options on a Bitcoin ETF, which means they are betting the price will go uppy, the institution selling that option has risk. To protect themselves, they do something what we call hedging. And how do they hedge? They buy the underlying asset, which means they also buy Bitcoin, or ETF shares that are backed by Bitcoin. What this means is that now we have a loop. Retail investors like us buy call options. The people selling the call options now hedge by buying Bitcoin. Buying pushes the price up. Rising price makes those calls more valuable. More people pile in. Rinse and repeat. This strategy is what we call delta hedging, and when it accelerates, it can create what's known as a gamma squeeze. In other words, this causes the price of Bitcoin to get exaggerated, which means the price did not move on fundamentals. This is similarly happening in AI stocks, and this has previously happened in other major sectors like tech. Bitcoin just joined that club when the price skyrocketed above $100,000 despite no real change in its fundamentals. Now here's the flip side. When those options expire, worthless, or traders close positions, market makers unwind their hedges. They sell. This is essentially the cycle moving backwards now. And that selling pressure can hit just as fast as the upside move. This causes big drops by 20 to 30%. Again, not off fundamentals, but you probably thought it was a macro event. Not adoption, not regulation, not some secret whale dumping, just structured hedging flows. And the bigger the scale of this, the bigger the pump and dumps you see. The scale of this is massive. When options became available for the largest Bitcoin ETF in late 2024, billions in volume traded almost immediately. Billions. That's not noise. That's influence. And here's why it matters more for Bitcoin than the S&P 500. Bitcoin's market is smaller and more fragmented than traditional equity markets, so a concentrated derivatives position can have an outsized effect. In other words, the same tools Wall Street uses to influence short-term price action in stocks now exist in Bitcoin. And the institutions operating those desks? They've been doing this for decades. Take it from me as a former banker on Wall Street. This happens all the time across various industries. But isn't this just normal? Yes, it's legal. It's standard. It's how mature markets operate. But here's the emotional disconnect. Many people bought Bitcoin because they believed it was outside of the regular banking system. It isn't anymore. The banks did not destroy Bitcoin. They absorbed it. And once derivative markets like options trading grow around an asset, volatility becomes more structured, more mechanical, and less purely organic. But I must remind you that this doesn't make Bitcoin bad. It just makes it different from what many early adopters imagined. Now let's get practical, because all of this only matters if it changes how you invest. Here are 4 lessons that will help protect you if you choose to buy Bitcoin. And if you find these lessons helpful, please like and subscribe to help my channel out. Lesson number 1. Volatility isn't going away. It's evolving. You're going to see more price moves around options expiration dates, more sharp rallies, more sudden drawdowns. This is not random. It is structured. If you don't know this, you'll constantly feel blindsided and experience the nightmare of price dips happening right after you purchase. Lesson number 2. HODL forever needs context. long-term holding can still make sense. But you need to understand that some 25% crashes won't be about fundamentals. They'll be about hedging unwinds by these institutions. If you panic sell those moments, you're playing the wrong game. And I would personally just not get involved with Bitcoin investing if I couldn't handle those price swings. Lesson number 3, ETFs versus self-custody aren't identical. If you hold actual Bitcoin in a self-custody wallet, you own the asset directly. If you hold ETF shares, you're inside the derivatives ecosystem we just discussed. Neither is automatically wrong, but they are not the same exposure, and things like options and some focused ETFs can experience an even more exaggerated and manipulated price swing than Bitcoin itself. Lesson number 4, institutions now profit both ways. This is the poetic irony. Bitcoin was built to disrupt banks. Now the largest asset managers on earth hold massive Bitcoin positions and profit from its volatility through options whether price rises or falls. Retail still argues about buy the dip. Institutions structure around the volatility. The system adapted, it always does. So should you sell? Not necessarily. The long-term thesis, fixed supply, decentralized network, global adoption, hasn't changed. Institutional involvement also brings liquidity and legitimacy. But what this does mean is that your mindset needs to evolve. You're not in a purely retail-driven frontier market anymore. You're in a hybrid asset class with institutional derivatives layered on top, and knowledge is your edge. You don't need more capital than the banks. You need clarity about how the game actually works. Because in investing, the winners are not the most idealistic, they're the most realistic. The banks adapted to Bitcoin. Now it's your turn to adapt to the banks. If you found this helpful, subscribe because we break down how money actually moves, not how we wish it did. And the more you understand the structure behind the volatility, the less likely you are to be the one funding someone else's edge. Please do me a favor and like and subscribe if you found this useful. And if you did, here are 2 other videos about personal finance that you might find helpful towards building your rich life.